Why the West is so afraid of Malaysia. That's an interesting title.
Westerners, and especially Europeans, are terrified of Muslim countries returning to the true Islam. And their fears are not centered around the Middle East, but even Asian countries like Malaysia, which has been a Muslim country for centuries.
Mashallah.
Let's check an example.
Les îles de Perhentian, au large de la Malaisie.
Music, I have to mute it. But there's subtitles. A white sand and clear water paradise. Here an expression was invented. The smiling Islam. The smiling and tolerating Islam. But in the country, some are attacking that model. Wait, what? Will the little paradise be able to survive?
Europeans seem to make them feel like Asian countries are for nothing, but they're empty touristic enjoyments. And they're seeing Muslims being true to themselves as a threat. They only accept the false Islam, which tolerates everything and condemns nothing, except perhaps Islamic teachings.
Oh yeah, I see this a lot on state TV here in Germany, where they bring speakers for Islam that don't mind LGBTQ, they don't mind having outside of marriage relationships, that say that smoking is only makruh and this and that. Yeah, they are often supported by Western countries, and that's what they've done with Christianity, and one of the reasons why I left Christianity back in the day, because they turned Christianity into a joke. Like, Christianity is just an emotion, there is no more a lifestyle, unfortunately, to a lot of people here. And you see this clearly when you look at like what the Christians are doing in their free time, right? And how often they even go to church, maybe once a year for Christmas or something, right? Like, a lot of religions have become a joke because of liberalism. This is not just affecting Islam, but even devout Jews and devout Christians are suffering from this. Like, all major religions are suffering from liberalization and from feminism and all that, right? Like, it's destroying even the atheist family structure these days. Like, there are atheist families that had some sort of morals even though they had no faith, and now those households are even losing their morals. It's the decline of morals and values in modern society, unfortunately. And yeah, the best solution and cure for this is Islam, but you need to practice it properly, and you also need to be a role model. If there were more role models as a Muslim these days, and we had people that are, for example, like Khalid ibn Walid radiallahu anhu, or maybe Umar ibn al-Khattab radiallahu anhu, we wouldn't even have the issue that we have right now in Palestine. Like, help would already be there, right? But yeah, like, morals, principles, they're on total decline. There's more and more double standards and fake morale, right? Where you condemn one side, but you yourself don't do this, or you are sinful, but others, they can't do the sin. And it's just, our society is very confused.
But as we all know, the one who tolerates everything stands for nothing.
Exactly.
And we, Muslims, stand for something. By labeling the watered-down version of our deen's smiling Islam, they effectively
Rainbow
are
Islam,
portraying actual
A'udhu billah.
Islam as the opposite. While in fact, the Prophet, peace be upon him, said, smiling in your brother's face is an act of charity.
Yes, it's
making
sadaqah.
smiling part
Sunnah.
of our religion. We just don't smile at filth. The one strategy they use to portray Islam negatively is using the word radical, with one goal: portray true Islam as a fringe ideology, and secularism, liberalism, and modernism as ideas our religion is fine with. And sadly, that bullying is working on some Muslims. But what are the arguments they use to express their worries? What is so menacing to the little hedonistic paradises they wish to build in our countries? Terrorism? Violent uprising attempts? Not even close.
Le parti veut réformer la justice, mais aussi l'éducation. Prochaine étape, modeler le cerveau des enfants. Il y a des écoles coraniques partout. Plusieurs heures par semaine d'éducation islamique et les 5 prières quotidiennes.
That's beautiful,
Aucun doute sur
mashallah.
le projet pédagogique de l'école.
On essaye d'aider la nouvelle génération
That's
à
good to have
apprendre
the
le
new
Coran
generation.
par cœur. Ensuite, ces garçons pourront eux-mêmes enseigner aux générations futures à apprendre le Coran par cœur.
Des enfants formatés.
Yeah, but why are they calling them brainwashed children? What the heck? So this is astaghfirullah. This is what they are afraid of, right? That the kids are going to Islamic schools and are getting education. You know what? If you had those kind of schools in the West, the crime rate would drop drastically. The substance abuse rate would drop drastically. The suicide rate would drop drastically. The divorce rate would drop drastically. Like, the issue that the youth these days have is we don't have, like, a lot of youth, they don't have role models anymore. Like, they are looking up to the wrong things. They're spending most of the time on TikTok looking at either nudes or artists that are suicidal, that do substance abuse, this and that. They look at the biggest fornicators walking on earth. They're looking at people that do active gambling and ruin their whole fortune that they've worked on for years. Like, there are a lot of wrong role models, and those gangster rappers where people are even like imitating them, that go to jail, they get shot all the time. You see it in the news. Recently some other rapper died, right? And Trippie Redd said, oh, RIP. Like, this is the thing, like, so many people kill each other in the music industry even, and people are looking up at those rappers, right? For example, like, may Allah protect the youth. I mean, like, what's wrong with having a right education? Is it good when is it like good when kids have an education, they can get a job later on? Like, is it better like people just stay at home, learn nothing, and become very stupid individuals in the future that even can't fix a faucet or something, right? Or can't fix a car later on? Like, who's going to repair your car later on if your car gets messed up or something, right? Or maybe there's something wrong with your oil. Who is doing the oil change of your car? Like, you need kids to have an education. If part of the education includes also learning the Quran by heart or something else, like, what's wrong with that? Like, I know a lot of schools that are Islamic schools that don't just teach Islam, but also teach other stuff, like regular high schools. It's just a part of the subject of that school. Are there like pure Islamic schools where you only learn the deen? Yeah, they exist, but usually those schools are not for kids, they are for adults, right? Or if you go to study Islam in Medina, right? And I highly encourage this to youth. Like, we need more scholars in Islam, we need more people of knowledge. So I highly encourage even families, if they have the financial means, to support their children to get Islamic educations in Medina, for example, if they can, inshallah. Because this is what we need. We need more knowledge. We need more people that have the knowledge and that speak the truth and spread the deen, right? But yeah, there's nothing wrong with that here. Kids get an education, they can later on get a decent job, right? They have manners, right? Like, good manners from the upbringing. That's positive. All the negative rates, like I said, crime rates and such, are dropping then.
Prendre le Coran par cœur.
Des
Alhamdulillah.
enfants formatés.
Brainwash children. What are you talking
This
about?
pretty much sums up what they're afraid of. Islamic education.
Is France
Knowledge is indeed the poison of the ignorant. The peaceful act of sitting and memorizing the Book of Allah is enough of a reason for them to feel threatened.
Better
the
than doing
nations
drugs and crimes.
endlessly bombing or supporting the bombing of innocents are seeing the pursuit of knowledge as extremism. But one other thing, the ones who want to convert the whole world to liberalism and secularism seem to be afraid of is Dawah. You see, Muslims are not selfish and don't see the blessing of Islam as something you can hide and keep to yourself. Islam is not based on ethnicity, and everybody deserves to at least hear the message. Muslims, as followers of the primordial religion, a religion for whole mankind, are indeed witnesses over humanity. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, and whose words are better than someone who calls others to Allah, does good, and says, I am truly one of the Muslims.
Allahu Akbar.
So naturally, peaceful da'wah is something every Muslim is proud of.
Exactly.
But Westerners somehow seem to take issue with it.
Il existe même un bureau d'islamisation des peuples de la forêt.
Aujourd'hui, il y a environ 15% des autochtones qui se sont convertis à l'islam.
Alhamdulillah.
Le but que nous a donné notre directeur est d'arriver à 100% d'autochtones
Inch'Allah.
convertis dans 3 ans.
Pour arriver à 100%, aucune limite, tous les moyens sont bons.
A blatant lie for the journalist, as forced conversions are strictly prohibited in Islam, and one must meet.
Yeah, there's no force in religion. This is true. Like, this is not allowed. If you give dawah, you have to actually come up with like valid points and convince the people, and not just say, if you don't accept Islam, I will hurt you or something like that. That is strictly forbidden in the Quran. This is what sometimes like Western media actually is spreading, like false information and propaganda. This is not true. Like, if you read the Quran and you come across this verse, you will see the truth, because here it clearly states in the Quran that there is no force in making someone believe in the deen. This is not allowed. This is prohibited.
His shahada for it to be valid.
Yeah, there are conditions of shahada.
Personne ne doit leur échapper.
Even scholars agree.
The abrasive words used by the journalist are not randomly chosen, and they have the sole purpose of tarnishing the image of those who devote their lives to doing da'wah. But as frustrated as Westerners may be, the Muslim countries they saw as nothing but resorts for their paid vacations are returning to the true Islam and investing in intellectually reconquering their lands after centuries of ideological colonialism. But not only that, non-Muslims from all walks of life are embracing the true religion, and it doesn't seem that the millions invested in tarnishing the image of Islam are achieving anything.
No. Yeah, like, you know, it's like so sad when you think about it. Like, a lot of people that are the higher ups of certain countries, right? They're getting like a lot of cash from their sinful actions and from interest and from tax for certain things like alcohol, tobacco, and this and that, right? Like, there's a lot of money to be made from haram, and I feel like some people, they're actually worried about if Islam grows, that they can no longer make a fortune, and those are like sinful individuals that sold their soul for this dunya. They don't want to take any religion, right? They're literally following the shaitan, right? And we have like a lot of people like that sold their souls. They don't mind if they're like people suffering, even as long as they have it comfortable and they have a benefit, right? Like, they're like their whole mindset is like strange, right? Like, when you look at some people, because I always hear in the news one thing, like people are complaining about suffering, about war, about like crime rates, this and that. They're always complaining about certain social issues, but yet they're condemning teachings that go against those negative trends, right? For example, Islam. If Islam was like the main religion of a country and people were practicing it properly, you will see all those negatives disappear in society, right? Like a high divorce rate, gangs, violence, people that overdose, they will no longer do this and this and that. Like, you see a lot of like solution and healing for a society, and a society can recover, right? And people can be happy again. And they are saying this sometimes in the public that they wish for this and that, but behind closed doors, they're actually working so hard against this and against the spread of Islam, for example. And oh, so there's a vacation site, right? And you're not worried that at the bar they no longer sell alcohol? A'udhu Why does it matter if you're going for a swim at the beach, if you're having let's say a Coca-Cola or Sprite or something, or if you are having a beer or something? Like, do you go there to destroy your health, or are you going there to relax and maybe enjoy the sea or something? Like, maybe try the good food. Like, why does there have always to be sins in order to enjoy yourselves? Like, can't you be happy doing sports, doing some healthy stuff? You're even protecting your own body, right? Like, following the desires is not always the right action. If you think deeper about like following certain desires and what sort of consequences they have in the future for you, you will realize that there's a lot of truth in why something is haram and something is halal. Like, Allah is our creator, and just like the manufacturer of a certain machine or a car, or of, let's say, a rice cooker or washing machine, just as they write in the manual how the machine has to function and be used, for example the washing machine, so does Allah know how we human beings have to function. Like, Allah knows, so we have to obey and observe what we should do and not do, right? This is very, very important, because this is how we as a society can function better and get rid of suffering as well, right? But yeah, this is very interesting. So there's like a lot of growth in Malaysia, and more people are coming to the deen, more Islamic schools. MashaAllah. May Allah reward them for doing this. Ameen. May Allah strengthen the Muslim youth and guide them. Ameen. Yeah, this was a very interesting video. Definitely a thumbs up here. And yeah, if you guys are new to this channel, please don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more content. If you guys enjoyed this video, please don't forget to give this one a thumbs up. And I will see you guys next time, inshallah.